aligned with who you are and specifically in your business because it can be really tricky to get into that flow of building momentum and knowing exactly what you're doing and being excited about the path that you're on for the most part because it's hard to get that level of clarity. So, Anna and I are here to help you get there today.
Yeah. Hey, Danilo, Widdy. These are our Instagram viewers. Just saying hi. So, like you
Uh,
said, I'm excited for today. I mean, I'm always excited, you know me.
Yeah.
So, if this is your first time tuning in, you just heard Marielle talk, and my name is Anna. And we're talking about how to stop brainstorming and start making money.
Yeah, so today we're actually going to really dive into what we like to call our vision blueprint. And you can kind of think of the vision blueprint as like your personal GPS for your business journey. And this is perfect for you if you have ever felt like you're totally stuck or you're in this like endless brainstorming session and just kind of juggling too many ideas, without ever really implementing any of them or implementing all of them at the same time or not even having a plan to begin with. So if any of that sounds like you, and I know that I've totally been there, this is totally for you.
Yeah, it's kind of like driving without a map or a GPS, right? It's kind of like, oh my gosh, where do I turn next or where do I even start? That's kind of like the situation I'm thinking about right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I think it's going to be really helpful if you're watching this live, even if you're watching this on the replay, to go and grab something to write with, because I know that it's so easy to get a great idea or to have a breakthrough, but then if you don't write it down, you don't ground it. So definitely grab something to write with, a notebook, get comfortable, and let's just dive in, Anna, and create that,
Yeah, yeah,
your-
totally. So, yeah, I mean, I think that every entrepreneur has been in this place where you just feel like I have all the ideas. Like we know that we sometimes don't run out of ideas. And in fact, the problem is like we just have way too many, right? And
yeah.
so actually when I first started with you, is my problem was not that I didn't have any ideas. It's just that okay, I have so many skills, I have so much wisdom, but I don't know like how to put it all together in a way that oh, sorry, I accidentally muted myself. What makes sense for me?
She
What
has
makes
too many
sense
ideas.
exactly. What am I doing with my life, my purpose, and so but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I
yeah.
love that you just said that. We're actually gonna dive into this really super interesting framework, and one that uses archetypes specifically because, as you know, I am obsessed with archetypes. So we're gonna talk the framework that we're gonna reveal to you and share with you is definitely has archetypes at the center of it all. So that's gonna help, I think, Anna.
Yes, I'm actually glad that we're talking about this finally, because when you talked about this in one of the Alchemy of Creation sessions, which were like on week 5 now,
Mhm.
um, a few weeks ago, and you talked about the full archetype. Actually, even like at the very beginning when you started talking about the full archetype, it's like I have never heard of these archetypes before. So I'm sure there's people in our audience right now. They're like, I don't either. So maybe we can start there when you
Yeah.
started talking about like the 4 phases of entrepreneurship and where kind of does that fall in the 4 phases.
Yeah, so totally. So, one of the things that we've been going down the rabbit hole of is that manifesting in business is different, is completely different actually than manifesting a parking spot or, manifesting even a client, right? And part of that is because there are these different phases that you find yourself in when you are an entrepreneur. And one of the very first phases is what I like to call the visionary phase, right? And the visionary archetype, the visionary phase really reminds me of the Fool in the tarot cards. In a deck of cards, I wish I should have had mine here so I could show it, but in a deck of tarot cards, the very first card is the Fool. And the Fool is that little figure who's got a little backpack and his little dog, and he's on his way to start the journey. And he's excited and he's got a vision, but he doesn't really know exactly where he's going. And he definitely doesn't have a plan. So yeah, so that's where we're going to start this today. Yeah.
Yeah, so what I guess my question would be like if I've identified that I am that visionary and I'm somehow ended up embodying the full archetype, like what are like some roadblocks that I could be experiencing around this season?
Um, yeah, that's a really good question. So let's talk about the full archetype in terms of entrepreneurship, okay? So in specific, like, you might be building a website, you might be taking courses and just getting another certification, like it's your 20th certification, lady. But yet again, you're getting your 21st certification. So you're doing things like that. You're designing your logos, you're building that website, you're taking the course, you're taking the 50th certification, all of that. And so the full archetype is really like it's like a burst. It's like a burst of potential and creativity and new beginnings. And yeah, when you hit those roadblocks, it's usually because you just don't have a GPS. Like you don't really understand where you're fully going. But you have the intuitive insight to just keep going, you know?
Yeah.
So it just feels a little chaotic.
Yeah, I actually do feel like around that time, I think I wasn't as in tuned with what I want. Like I was actually like I think researching what does it mean to be more intuitive? Like how do you tune
Yeah,
into your intuition? I was literally just thinking that about that this morning. And
yeah.
so can you tell us like different ways that we can like stop the overthinking because let's face it, like we tend to kind of just get in our minds all the time and we just forget to tune
Right.
into to I mean, what does it even mean? Because we're so not used to it. We're so trained in the traditional way of living to like look for answers outside of us, right? And
Yeah.
so what does that mean when you like want to just stop overthinking and then just want to tune in to your intuition?
When it comes to, yeah, that's a tricky question because there's many ways of tuning into your intuition. And specifically, everybody has a psychic power, right? Whether your psychism is you see things or you hear things or you know things or you smell things or everyone has one of your senses is more powerful than another. So, but when it comes to like the phase of being the visionary, it's really, really, really important that you go with your instinct and with the things that excite you, right?
Yeah.
It's really easy to get discouraged and feel like maybe I'm just making this all up, or oh, this other person has my same idea and she is so much further ahead, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's so easy to fall into those like identities of just feeling like, instead of feeling like the visionary, you start feeling like the imposter, right?
Yeah.
So in those moments, I say lean into what your heart is telling you and follow your bliss. You know that I'm a stickler about, yes, you have to follow your bliss, but you have to make a pit stop with your soul.
Yes. I
You know?
totally love that
Yeah,
analogy.
yeah, because sometimes, you hear it, it looks pretty in a postcard, follow your bliss, follow your bliss. But at the same time, it's like, what is your bliss based on? Is it based on all of your unhealed aspects of yourself?
Mm,
You know?
yeah.
Or is it really the bliss that comes from your soul? So it's like you have to follow your bliss, yes. But at the same time, make a pit stop with your soul and also stay grounded. Stay grounded in reality. We talk a lot about this. Stay in flow, but get it done.
Yeah.
It is very easy to be spiritual and be totally ungrounded and try to meditate into success all day long, and that doesn't work
Yeah. Like
because
try to just like visualize everything and like not do anything about it.
I mean, yeah, I've tried it, trust me, and it doesn't work.
I think we all have at some point, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, you have to meditate, of course, and visualize. And, we have God-given gifts that we have to nurture, but it is also a gift to be in a body, and we need to be able to get grounded, right?
Yeah.
So it's that very fine balance of in the beginning, follow your heart as the fool does, but stay grounded. Get yourself into a community as fast as possible of people that are doing what you want to do and are succeeding so that you can let that energy ground you as well, you know? And then the other thing that I would also say is instead of seeing yourself as like the imposter or like I'm just a beginner or I'm always going to be a student, there's never going to be a time where I'm not learning. Like think of yourself in a different identity, like I'm the resilient innovator, for example.
Yeah. I
You
love
know?
that.
Yeah. So I don't know if I
Yeah.
answered your question, Anna.
You did. No, no, that was so good. Um, we also talk, I mean, I'm a geek when it comes to human design. And so
Yeah.
for those of you that are watching, especially we're seeing people hop on Instagram, and you're like, what the heck is human design? Or maybe if you're watching us from YouTube or Facebook, um, human design. So you just like drop, what's my human design, and we'll we'll send you information on that. But I'm thinking about specifically for generators and manifesting generators. Usually our strategy is to respond.
Hmm.
And so I really learned to tune in more into my body instead of like what my mind is saying when I learned that my strategy is to respond.
Yeah.
And it's not just respond, like what happens when I respond and what's my response when I'm actually saying yes or no to something. And that has saved me a lot of frustration and pain, I'll tell you, but it also accelerated my results in such a powerful way that's like something so simple that you can implement in your life that can make a huge difference because those micro decisions bring you to the destination, right? Closer. Each step gets you closer. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Brandon and Nadia are watching on Facebook. So, hey guys. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah. So, did you have any like final things to say to them as far as that particular aspect of
Well, you know what I
not
always say?
overthinking?
It's all about knowing yourself. Like how deeply do you know yourself? And one of the
Mhm.
things that we love is giving our clients tools to know themselves better. Because listen, I can give you all the geeky funnels and sales pages and use this opt-in and here's the perfect messaging. But if you're not tuning into who you really are and how you were designed and how you're built, I can give you the best strategy, but then you're going to go and implement it and you're going to burn out because that strategy was really never meant for you, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that what you were saying is like all leads down to the path to the idea of know yourself.
Yeah,
And when you
self-awareness.
know your, yeah, when you know yourself, you are going to take better action and do certain things more than others. And ultimately it's like action is the decisions that you're making on a consistent basis and the way you're spending your time in a body is what's going to dictate your success or your lack thereof. You can't think your way into success. That's a
Oh, that's
fact.
good. That's something you want to write down.
And you can't plan yourself into success either. And that's something that's easily done in the visionary phase.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
No, I love that you said you can't plan yourself. You can plan yourself into success. But we're talking about vision blueprint today. So
oh
that's
yeah.
kind of like contradictory. So let's kind of unpack that. So first, I agree. Self-awareness is so important. And so in the process, I find that on the entrepreneurial process specifically, you get to face different roadblocks, different demons, if you want to call it,
Yeah.
that we could see as like a negative thing or a bad thing. But
Hmm.
if we saw it as like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to overcome, that's such that resilient innovator that you were talking about, that's such a powerful shift.
Yeah, if you
Just
see
that
it as a
alone.
journey, right?
Yeah.
Like just seeing it more as a journey than I just have to get there or, yeah. I mean, it's not like I wasn't saying that you shouldn't have a plan. You should abso-freaking-lutely have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, you need to get a plan. But what I'm saying is like you can't just do that. You have to take action. And part of that, part of taking action is testing things and trying things out and sometimes failing. And sometimes like you're just going to succeed beyond what you even expected from yourself. So, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, so let's talk about the visionary and like so if they've determined that I'm like, oh my gosh, I am a visionary right now, I'm in this phase. What's the next step? Like we talked about like what could be happening right now in their life and then how can they kind of shift their and we are already talked about a little bit about it, but like what's a better way to think about being in the visionary phase and then being able to go from this phase to the next, like what could be something that could help them overcome and go to the
um,
next.
yeah. Well, the next phase is really it's like the success seeker, right? Like that's the second phase of entrepreneurship. It's like now you have a plan, but that now you're looking for success. So you absolutely do need a bridge. And I think that the best bridge that anyone could possibly have is to stay and see yourself as a beginner, but a beginner that's always taking chunked down action,
Yeah.
right? Because it's very, when we have a vision and we're thinking really big, it's almost like you're standing at the top of a mountain and you're seeing all these all these different peaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see the rest of the mountain peaks, and it can feel really overwhelming
Yeah.
and not knowing where to start. And there is a point in time when being the visionary becomes overwhelming. It's really fun at the beginning.
Yeah.
At the beginning, you're like, yes, I'm going to conquer the world. I'm going to win the World Series. I'm just kidding. But
Very fitting.
yeah, but then at one point it's like, okay, gosh, there's so much work to be done. I have to design this thing. I have to create the marketing for it. I have to go sell it. I have to go find a team. Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
it makes you just kind of want to go get into your pajamas under watch Netflix all day. Like, way easier.
Or go trick-or-treating like today.
Well, yeah, you should definitely do that anyway. Uh,
Totally.
but
Okay. I do love that. So let's
Oh,
kind
wait,
of
hold on,
unpack
hold on.
that.
Let me just say
Go
this
ahead.
one thing though.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, when you are at the very top, you have to see the rest of the peaks and know that it's not about getting somewhere or getting to the top of every one of those things, every one of those peaks. It's more
Hmm.
about creating a it's about chunking down instead of creating an entire roadmap. Like, what's the first thing that you're going to do and creating the roadmap for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's exciting. Thank you for finishing that thought because I needed that extra piece to
Yeah.
ask you my next question. So this reminds me of, and you just talked about this, I think it was last week, about when you had your brain surgery.
Mm.
And like how you literally did just that. So can you walk us kind of like what was going through your mind, like what did your process look like, and how you chunked it down so that it's not this like big summit that you have to climb?
Yeah. So I had 6 months before my operation and I knew what I wanted the outcome to be, right? I wanted to manifest getting my hearing back. And I was at that point in I was just actually starting my coaching career at the time. And it's so crazy to want to care about your coaching career when you're about to go through brain surgery, right? But I did. I knew that I was going to be okay and that everything was going to be fine. So why was I not going to plan for success, right? So
Right.
I broke it down. I broke it down. I had just finished a few certifications, and I was like, my very first plan is to help people. I'm going to help as many people as I possibly can, and hopefully they'll pay me. That'll be great. You know, my
Yeah.
what is that called? Yeah, my goals weren't that high with that. But I just knew that I wanted to start creating momentum.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to know what is it going to take for you to feel like you're creating momentum. And this is why, I highly encourage, and I talk a lot about this inside of the alchemy of creation, right? Like you have to have a plan that really matters to you.
Yeah.
The plan that mattered to me at the point, I could care less what the coaches in the world were saying that I should charge. I knew I needed to build my belief in myself and in my work. I knew I
Mhm.
needed to build the momentum. And I did whatever I had to do that. Again, that goes back to kind of like knowing how you work, right? And
Yeah.
trusting yourself.
Oh, that's so good. There's so much more that I want to ask about that. Because that feeling is kind of like your compass, right? Like your guiding light to where you want to be. And if you did pay attention to the other things that the other coaches are doing, then it kind of diverts your attention from what truly matters to you.
Yeah, I feel like it has to be a combination of both because
Yes.
I've always had a mentor, always. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
shout out to Julie Edmonds if you're watching me, Cassandra when I was 18 years old, Omion when I was 27. Like I've always had a freaking badass woman leading me at one. Kendall Summerhawk, hello. Like I highly value being led
Yes.
somewhere I've never been to. But I don't know if this has to do with my human design, Anna, but I know what's right inside. Like it has to go, like somebody can tell me something and I'm like, oh, that totally makes sense. And then I take that through whatever, through my system, and I'm like, check, check, check. Oh, nope, that's a no.
Right. It
So
is.
ultimately is that's part of my design, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It always is.
That's how I make decisions. I don't know if that's how you should make decisions, but yeah, I think it's definitely a combination of surrounding yourself with people that have been there, done that, and I highly suggest that you surround yourself with the people that have failed as
Yes.
much as they've succeeded. You
Correct.
know, on Instagram, well, I don't know, probably everywhere on social media, but it's like we only see the pretty stuff, right? Like all the success and the this and the that.
Right.
And, I don't always know if all of it is true or not, but I would, I would probably say that there has been as much failure as there has been success. So
Yeah.
like you're working with someone and following someone's blueprint, like make sure that this person has been through it so that you can
Yeah.
really be led.
Yeah, I'm excited that you mentioned that because I mean, I'm the same way. It's
Yeah,
kind of like standing on the shoulders of giant, as they say, right?
yeah,
And the thing that we're gonna like introduce them today is something that we have been testing ourselves. So we'll talk about that later, but let's just kind of stay on point a little bit here. So I want to add to like, yes, you're creating a to-do list, you're responding now to like what lights you up, and you're just kind of you're paying attention to how it feels in your body. But it can also be so easy to get caught up in just like doing, and then just like checking off the box, right? But I think it's also helpful to have a not to do list. You know me and boundaries. I love boundaries, right? So, are you still there? Are we still going? I think we're good. Okay. I
good.
think
You
that's
are.
stuck a little bit there. It's internet. So the not to do list, being able to say, this is not what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. Like, unless like uh, my house is flooding, I'm gonna focus on this thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So I mean, tell me more about your not to-do list. I'd love to hear about that.
well, it is really just that. It's like, okay, I do have a to-do list, and I have like a certain amount of time that I have to like focus on this, right? And so when the phone dings, or like I get an email from one of our team members like saying, "Hey, I need to for you to review this," kind of things, like that's not part of my to-do list right now. That's part of my not to-do list, right? Like these are not my non-negotiables. These need to get done in this order. These are priority. Because not you can do everything all at once, and the to-do list is not gonna go away ever. Unfortunately, we live in a place called Earth where you have to do everything physically, right? So I think it's important for you to also in your plan, right, to have a way to where, okay, these are the non-negotiables, and these are the distractions that are not really going to move the needle in my business right now.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is an amazing place to start because, I work off of it's kind of like I have a little document with like rules I follow for myself.
Yeah.
Like my do not do this today. And it really keeps me on track. Like and it can be something really simple like do not answer I hope my mom's not watching this. Do not answer mom's calls until after 2 p.m. You know,
Mm,
because I know how those calls go. So
yeah, they're usually long, right?
yeah, yeah, they're usually long. So like I really thrive off of these small lists. Unless, and I'm like I've told her safe word, right? Like mom, if you need something, just say this word and I'll know to, drop everything else. But other than that, it's like
Love that. That's your boundary.
my boundary. Yeah, but
For
okay,
sure.
so why don't we start diving into the creating your vision blueprint?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So once you identify like your mind, kind of like your archetype, right? It can really help you see what patterns, such as the visionary archetype, what patterns you might easily fall into. Okay. Or also like what, including all the roadblocks that we've talked about today. Um,
Hmm.
so, like imposter syndrome, like, really feeling that imposter syndrome or feeling like the eternal student. Just catch yourself. And I always say awareness is the most important thing you can actually have in your business, self-awareness.
Yeah.
So, absolutely, um, catch yourself where you're at in terms of what mindset and what archetype you think you're embodying at that time, right?
Hmm.
Um,
That's step
y-
one.
Yeah. So the next thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you notice what it is that you're feeling. Like are you feeling scarcity? Are you feeling judgment? Are you feeling like you're not good enough, right? Like I think that's really, really important. And once you identify those things, like that's where you can actually start reframing your train of thought, your mindset, and start creating the opposite,
Hmm.
right? Um, a lot of people are overthinkers at this point. So, I mean, I know that I've been an overthinker many
Yeah,
times.
for
Uh,
sure.
and just like second guessing yourself, instead of saying once you catch yourself, like instead of saying, "Oh my God, what if I fail? What if my aunt watches this or whatever?" Say, "Oh my God, what if I succeed?
Yeah.
What if I can actually help someone with this today?" So
Yeah.
stop making it all about you.
Ah, that's so good. That's so good because when it's not about you and it's about helping another person, it just puts you in a different ball game. Since we're talking about the World Series right now, right? Totally different ballgame, totally different frame of mind, right?
Mhm.
When you're helping somebody and not so like focus on like, woe is me, but like, how can my knowledge, my skills, my wisdom, my expertise help somebody else move forward in their business? And I think that's what great coaches great coaches can coach themselves basically, so you're basically coaching yourself in that situation also.
Totally. And, embrace a different archetype. Like you're now the bold creator, you know, who takes risks or you're the action taker.
Yes. Yeah.
Instead of asking yourself, how can I take action? It's like, no, I'm the action taker. I'm the bold creator. Like
Yeah.
I can do this, right?
Yeah, I love that. So first step is to identify which archetype and like which situations are keeping you stuck and like embodying a different perspective or a different archetype,
Mhm.
because you can, that's something easy that we can do in a moment and be able to shift, right?
Yeah, it's
And
like
then,
stepping into a new costume.
yeah, step into a new yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, it's Halloween right now, so that
Exactly.
makes so much sense. Oh, I love that. Okay, so let's say that now they're taking action and they're doing. And it's easy also to get stuck in just like taking action, but not like kind of taking a step back and one, assessing, what you've accomplished so far and giving yourself like a pat on the back and
Yeah.
high five. So like being able to celebrate the tiny wins. And so like you talk about this as kind of like your red bikes,
Oh,
in
yeah.
entrepreneur creation, to where it's like, maybe you do want a new client or you do want a few clients this month, but what are the signs that lead to you, getting those clients? What are the little steps that you would consider a win when that client is about to come, right? So it's like those pit stops that you're talking about. It's like, if you're using this blueprint as your GPS, right, and you scheduled a pit stop, let's say at Bucky's, which in Texas they're huge, right?
Yeah.
You can get yourself a treat or like a little trinket, right? When you stop there, and be able to recognize that, like, yes, like I'm on my way, it's on its way, and I'm winning right now, even in the tiniest way, but I am winning, and it is coming, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Totally. I agree.
Yeah.
Drop the mic.
I agree. Okay, so those are the three steps, right? Did we miss anything?
I don't think so. We talked about the not to do list as well. Um, yeah, no, I think we're good.
Yeah. So I want to add to that last comment as far as celebrating. So when we celebrate, it's like, and we recognize those signs like from the universe, it just puts us in this place of feeling grateful. It's like, yes, like I'm getting closer instead of like putting us living in fear constantly, right? Because when I think Dr. Dispenza says this all the time, he says, when you put yourself in a place of gratitude, you put your place in the place of receiving more, and I think that's such a great way to think about it when you're doing that. So it's not just like cliche. It's like, yeah, celebrate small wins, like sounds really cool on a Hallmark card, but it really does work when you put it into practice. I mean, just the results that our clients are getting just from focusing on those red bikes, those little wins.
I
It's
know.
like, we talked about this last week. Like Ollie, she wanted 30 people in her new program and she got 35,
No, she
because
wanted
she
10.
focused. Yeah.
She wanted 10 and she got 35.
Yeah, 10 and 35. Yeah. And I mean, total, she wanted 30. Like 30 would be nice, 30 would be really nice. And then she ended up getting 35, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So let's bring this home since we know I know we talk a lot. Let's bring it home. So yesterday we said in our Facebook group into our community that we're releasing something big and something new. And we've been hard at work testing this behind the scenes for the last several months.
Yeah. It's
And I feel like we perfected it, to a point where it's like, okay, we want it to be low tech, we want it to be beginner friendly, and we want it to be, obviously, most importantly, effective and profitable for our clients that are going to implement it. So, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it because, one of the big things that, especially like if you're in the visionary phase or even in like the success builder phase, which is the second phase of entrepreneurship that we talk about, you want something that you can do right away to get clients right away.
Yeah,
And it can be really intimidating to create a funnel or like do all of this. And listen, you must create your digital kingdom if you plan on doing this.
correct. 100%.
Yes, but this what we are unveiling is so simple, and it's such a great already tested strategy that really uses your visibility and connects it directly to getting like, at least 3 clients this week to raise their hand for you easily without being salesy and like all of that stuff. So
Yeah,
that's why I really wanted to I'm really excited about just talking about this because so many people are looking to I just want to test this. I want to see if I can get
yeah,
clients. I want something simple. There's got to be a way that is simple to get a few clients and get the momentum rolling so that I can then reinvest if you want to or whatever into building your digital kingdom. But
yeah.
yeah, this is cash flow generating like I like it.
Yeah, or take that vacation that you've always wanted to take because now you're making money right away. Yeah, I love it. It is a cash flow generator. And it's probably the quickest way that our clients, whoever takes us up on this workshop, it's called the visibility cash flow engine. And it's so easy. It's a 4-week workshop where we'll walk you step by step where you can literally test out an offer and get feedback within hours, and even not just feedback but actually get clients within hours of you letting them know
Bye.
that this
Yeah,
is your offer. Yeah, it's like the quickest from cold to sold, basically,
yeah.
right? So if you want more information on that, we're not going to post it in social media, but because we want you to actually let us know that, like, hey, this is actually something that I want to do. If this is a new way, in a simple way, in a low tech way, like I'm in. we want to really connect with you and engage with you. So if you're watching, whether wherever it is that you're watching us, just drop the word cash flow in the comments or message, whoever you're connected to, either me at Anna Dornier on Instagram or at Business Alchemist on Instagram with Marielle. Just message us and we'll get back with you with information on like how this entire system works to see if it's for you. It's very low cost because we really wanted you to have a tool that you can make money with, especially with Black Friday coming up. Like
Yeah.
literally,
Yeah.
you can get something launched and build something pretty powerful, pretty profitable before even Black Friday comes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, totally. Like this is the kind of strategy that you learn and you can implement right away. So that's what I love about it. It's so
For
fast.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So comment cash flow. And then we'll get back to you and we'll see you again next week. If you have questions, if you're watching the replay, just drop them in the comments. We'll make sure to get back with you as well.
Thank you
See you
so
next
much for
time.
joining us. See you next week for another episode of Solidify Your Business. Bye, everyone.
Bye.